Anna Biller's The Love Witch is a hyper-stylized homage to 1960s Technicolor horror and exploitation films, but beneath the candy-colored surface lies a deeply unsettling critique of distorted femininity, occult practices, and relational destruction. The film can be interpreted as a parable, a cautionary tale, about what happens when a woman weaponizes occult power out of bitterness toward men and distrust in natural relationships. Occult as a tool of control. Elaine, the titular love witch, is a woman who uses magic, potions, and rituals to seduce men and force them into a state of obsession and emotional dependency. On the surface, she claims to seek love, yet her practices reveal a darker truth. She is less interested in authentic connection than in control. By invoking witchcraft, she bypasses the organic, messy, and reciprocal nature of human intimacy, replacing it with domination disguised as enchantment. This becomes a warning against the occult itself, that dabbling in such powers often leads not to fulfillment, but to delusion, obsession, and destruction. Disdain for men. Although Elaine desires men, she simultaneously holds them in contempt. She views them as weak, disposable, and incapable of satisfying her idealized vision of romance. Every man she ensnares quickly collapses under the weight of her manipulation, either becoming clingy, unstable, or overwhelmed by her spell. Rather than seeing these men as partners, she sees them as prey, tools to validate her fantasy and absorb her projected need for adoration. This disdain is a central warning of the film. When resentment toward men merges with occult empowerment, it creates a toxic brew where love becomes impossible, and relationships become battlegrounds of power rather than sanctuaries of unity.
The tragedy of self-deification. Elaine's reliance on witchcraft reflects a deeper spiritual problem, self-deification. She assumes the role of goddess, believing she can engineer love, bend wills, and demand worship. In this sense, she becomes a symbol of what happens when the feminine principle is divorced from humility and reverence for divine order. Her spells are not prayers, they are acts of hubris, attempts to impose her will upon others. The film portrays this path as inherently doomed, leading to the destruction of both men and Elaine herself. The illusion of empowerment. At first glance, Elaine seems empowered, beautiful, sexually liberated, and in command of men through her witchcraft. Yet this power is revealed to be hollow. None of her relationships last, none of her lovers remain alive or whole, and her pursuit of idealized love only leads to loneliness and despair. The irony is that in trying to dominate men, she becomes enslaved by her own emptiness and delusions. The occult appears liberating, but the film shows it as a trap that devours both the practitioner and their victims. A warning to women. Seen through a moral and spiritual lens, The Love Witch warns women about the dangers of using occultism as a substitute for inner healing, faith, and authentic connection. When disdain for men takes root, witchcraft becomes a tool of vengeance rather than love. Instead of creating unity, it breeds isolation, delusion, and death. The film suggests that true love cannot be manufactured by ritual or force. It must be grounded in honesty, humility, and mutual respect. Conclusion. The Love Witch is more than a retro-styled horror film. It is a symbolic parable about the destructive consequences of women turning to the occult while harboring bitterness toward men. Elaine embodies the archetype of the sorceress whose quest for power leads to tragedy, showing how disdain, witchcraft, and self-deification can never produce the genuine intimacy and wholeness she craves. In this sense, the film stands as a cultural warning. Occult practices, when fueled by contempt and misanthropy, do not bring liberation. They bring spiritual death.